And good afternoon and welcome to Gungahlin Enclosed Oval this afternoon with this big clash to see who goes into the grand final against the Queanbeyan Blues. Rugby League major, is it a major semi-final? Is that what we call it? John Court is with me. How are you, John?
Hey, mate. Yeah, the preliminary finals today.
Preliminary.
Yeah. So winner of today goes straight through to the grand final.
Against the Queanbeyan Blues. It is the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs and Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Let me just say this, John, and I think you will agree. The Blues are already in the grand final. These two clash today. There's virtually nothing between the whole three teams this season.
No, there's hardly been anything between them. They've been really tight games, and when they've played each other, it's been incredibly tight. Tuggeranong beaten Goulburn the two times they've played this season. Goulburn and the Blues, 1 win apiece, and Tuggeranong and the Blues, 1 draw and 2 wins to the Blues. So very tight, very tight.
And I think when I looked at the ladder, they all finished on 11 wins in the rounds before the final started. All finished on 11, is that right?
I can't remember off the top of my head. There wasn't much between them. There was only a couple of points.
There was a couple of draws.
Yeah, a couple of draws in there.
So it is a really tight competition. So Goulburn Workers, they had the big win to make it to today, last weekend.
Yeah, it was a massive win against the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. I remember going into that match, I was thinking, I can't pick this. This is going to be an incredibly tight game, and they ended up putting about 30 or 40 on the Kangaroos. So probably, even though there's only a few teams left, and but I don't think it's too bold of a call to say that they're the form team of the competition at the moment. They've been getting some big wins. Tuggeranong entering this match off the back of 3 losses, but some pretty good performances. And, two different
pretty
styles.
Tough against the Blues last week. I suppose it was still open up until the last 10 minutes. It was a very heavy clash. There was a lot of physical clashes in there.
Oh, it was the most physical game that I've seen this year. You could just feel the force behind every hit-up. Bodies were getting bruised out there. And it was right in there till about 60-65 minute mark. Like, I didn't know which way it was going to go. So I think Tuggeranong can take a lot of confidence out of that performance. They've also got the confidence of beating Goulburn twice already this season. Goulburn actually haven't beaten Tuggeranong since early 2017. So it's been a couple of years since Goulburn have managed to beat Tuggeranong.
Right, so they'll be... Their key player is obviously, the Cornish boys are there. Mitch Cornish has been their gun player this season.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of try assists, plenty of tries too. I think it was only 1 try off becoming the leading try scorer in the competition. Sets up a lot of tries just to his outside men. I think also looking at that, James Orbison's been a big one too. I think games where he might have picked up a little knock early in the season. One game would have been the Kangaroos in round 10. He just had to go off after about 30 minutes, completely changed the game. So I think that he's a key player. Obviously, that's those players in that spine. But James Orbison and Mitch Cornish, they're the key men for me.
And Tuggeranong, who do you look for there?
Definitely Michael Brophy. I think with him, he's been at fullback, but he's definitely a ball player. And with the types of halves that they've got, Michael Brophy is still probably the best in terms of managing a game. So
he played a lot in the, though he was fullback, he got up in the 5'8" position a lot last week. He was very dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. And in attack, that's who they're looking for. The other key men, it's hard to split them, but I really like their 2 second rowers, Nathan Smith and Jared Kennedy. Nathan Smith just uncompromising, hits hard, got plenty of skill, and Jared Kennedy, just the composure. That little basketball-style pass he did last week for Drury Low on his outside, I thought that just showed like he's got plenty in his locker as the Tuggeranong Bushrangers run out onto the field now.
Yeah, Josh Mitchell leads them out, their hooker, and a fair crowd from Tuggeranong has travelled up here to Gungahlin Oval. So they're out there, and we wait on the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. So, John, who are you tipping?
Oof, it's so hard to pick. I think if Goulburn play like they did last week, I don't know if there's a team that can beat them.
The Tuggeranong are going to get up in their face and not let them play
exactly.
Like last week.
It's just so contrasting their different styles. Like Tuggeranong are going to go through the middle. Goulburn are going to try and play their way around it. and it's just such a different style. I've got no idea who's going to win. If I had to make a tip, I'd maybe go Goulburn by 4 points, but I've really got no idea.
Yeah, okay. So now Tuggeranong Bush Rangers have run onto the field, and just making a few notes. We'll be into the call very shortly. John, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, mate, and looking forward to a great game.
You go and enjoy it. So both sides are out there. Who is going to line up next week in the grand final of the Raiders Cup against the Queanbeyan Blues? So the kick-off, and it goes downfield, and it'll be the Tuggeranong Bushrangers with the first touch of the ball. And they bring it up towards halfway. Now Josh Mitchell is the dummy half. He's going to call the shots and play an important role here this afternoon. Comes back across to Brent Neal. Neal charges it up the centre. He's almost found halfway. This is the first set. They don't want mistakes early either of these sides. The kick from Wesley Alexander. It goes down deep to the Goulburn Workers. They're going to play it about 20 metres out from their own line. There's a mistake early in the match. Let's get these sides correct. Tuggeranong Bushrangers make the mistake. We'll get it right in a moment. Should have written down the colours of what these two sides are. But anyway, scrum will pack. It'll be 20 metres out. From the Bushrangers line. And it is Goulburn Bulldogs. Oh, they got space early. They're going to score comfortably through Stephen Cummings. Well, that was too easy. From the scrum, they just moved it across field. And there was a huge overlap for Stephen Cummings to come up with the try. So, very early in this match, we've only had 2 minutes. And Stephen Cummings has come up with the try. So Tuggeranong Bushrangers making the mistake. The scrum was set for Goulburn Workers, and it was simple, quick hands across their back line. And Stephen Cummings, he was laughing to himself when he realised he had no defence to contend with. So he strolled over the line to score about 10 metres in from touch. And the Goulburn Workers now will try and convert this 4 points into 6. And Chris Hart has the ball lined up. Moves in and strikes it. And it's just come away to the face of the post. So 4-0. 2 minutes for the first try. Stephen Cummings getting it for the Goulburn Workers. So a bit of a shock start. Bush Rangers come back up to halfway. Josh Mitchell, their captain, is going to kick off, and he sends it deep, almost down to the try line, to make the Goulburn Workers bring this ball out. Playing it as Connor Brebner. They bring it across for Dobson. Now it's coming through the Cornish boys. They made play about 15 short of halfway. That run was through Rota. They go back in field. 8 metres short of halfway, the Goulburn Bulldogs. Played the ball with Liberto. Kick downfield. It's a high, deep kick, and it goes down to Connor Mason. Mason will come infield, and he's tackled 22 out from his own line. Here at Gungahlin enclosed oval. Brophy, Michael Brophy, with a run. Takes it 30 metres out from his own line, and he picks up a penalty. The ruling Nick Cornish just in there too long. Not a big kick for touch. It'll find an extra 6 metres. So Tuggeranong Bushrangers, after their poor start, will now get a chance to get some field position. Charge it up through the centre. They've taken play 10 metres over halfway, so a good couple of runs. Josh Mitchell moves it out to Matthew Dragosick. He's tackled in the centre of the ground, 30 metres out. Mitchell brings it back across for Heyman, who links up with a man on the outside. And that was Nathan Smith. Goes back to Heyman. So they're in front of the post, 14 metres out. They'll come back to the left through Nathan Smith. Little kick and a mistake from the Goulburn Bulldogs. We'll see a line drop out. So a great opportunity for Tuggeranong now with this field position from this line drop out. So the settling down period was a bit of a shock with a try to the Goulburn Workers at 2 minutes. It's fairly short line drop out. In fact, they're charging through on it. Tyler Cornish, he almost got to it. They came up with Matthew Dragosick, and the ball has been stolen from Dragosick, and that was James Orbison. So that was a great effort. Now Libertrado, he goes across field, run into 3 defenders. Dobson will run it up. So they're taking play towards the halfway now, Tuggeranong. Tidor, he's on halfway. Comes back for Mitch Cornish. Gives it on to Tyler Cornish. Defence up in his face. It's the 5th tackle. They'll go back to Mitch Cornish. He'll kick across field. Michael Brophy will come across and take it. He'll use his winger, Jaden Pollard. Pollard's brought down about 21 out from his own line. So now Tuggeranong coming across field. Josh Mitchell looking to straighten it up, links up with Michael Brophy. 9 metres short of halfway. Josh Mitchell this time gave it out to Drury Lowe, who came up with a terrific run. He's taken play now 12 metres into Goulburn side of the ground. Back for Jaden Thomas. Thomas brought down 30 out. This is their last tackle. Mitchell, he'll give it to Michael Brophy. He'll put up a high one, but it's a very flat one. It's virtually gone straight up and down. So Tuggeranong come up with the ball, and they get good hands out to Lowe, and Lowe finds Pollard, and Pollard chips into the in-goal area, and it's a great effort by Pollard. Jaden Pollard with the magical kick into the in-goal area, and he put the Goulburn Workers under all sorts of pressure, and he's got his side a great reward. They'll get another set on the line. So Jaden Pollard there, tall, rangy winger, with the soft feet, a beautiful kick, and followed through to ensure that the line drop, another short line drop out. Oh, there'll be a penalty there. Oh, up high went Narima Lowe, and he was taken out while he was in the air. And the referees allowed things to go on, which really surprises me. So Mitchell gives it on to Jaden Thomas. Thomas runs hard at the line. Paid back for Josh Mitchell. Comes back for Dragosick. They're so close to the line. 3 men in there. Almost a chicken wing on Dragosick. Oh, and he's lost the ball getting up. Well, I almost thought Dragosic was going to pick up a penalty. He had his right arm bent backwards. And I noticed that Josh Mitchell is up there complaining heavily about that incident. Goulburn Workers will get the ball from this scrum. They've been under siege. They lead 4 points to nil, the Goulburn Workers, over the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Our scrum packs. And they come away with it, Goulburn. They'll work it down the blind side by Tidor. Far side of the ground. Ball comes back to Mitch Cornish. Gives it to Dodson. Dodson's about 20 metres short of halfway. He's in the middle of the ground. Number 19 gets to his feet, the veteran. Greenwood. This is good defence, though, from Tuggeranong. And Greenwood's put down, still on the 30-metre line. So Goulburn can't find anywhere to go in this set, so they elect a kick. It's a deep kick too. Oh, it's a tricky one. Michael Brophy got a bad bounce. Knock back. The referee said it as a knock back. I won't argue with him on that one. Brophy had lost his footing and almost knocked on. And now they've got a penalty. Tuggeranong Bushrangers. 20 metres out from their own line. 4-0 the score. Goulburn Workers. We've had 11 minutes of play in this important match to see who goes into the 2019 Grand Final against the Queanbeyan Blues. Now we've got Matthew Warboys talking to the referee. He is the captain of the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. Josh Mitchell coming back to the line. He will kick for touch. Their captain. That's a better kick, although it only produces 10 metres there on the far side of the ground. So Jared Kennedy with a run. Played back for Josh Mitchell. Gives it away to Brent Neal. Neal forces his way to halfway. Gives it back to Josh Mitchell. Holds it up, shows it, gives it back inside to Dragosic. Dragosic to the 40-metre line. Mitchell away to Heyman. Heyman off the left. Oh, he beat 1, 2, 3 tackles. Then he flicked it inside to Dragosic, who straightened the attack up and runs hard. Beat 1 tackle. And he's taken it 15 metres out from the line. Mitchell, who goes the far side of the ground. Got it away to Alexander. Went for a chip kick. Ball's all over the place. The referee will rule there is a knock on, and the scrum feed will go to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. 10 metres out from the Goulburn line. 4-0 the score. Goulburn Workers, the Bulldogs, who scored a try in the second minute of the match, lead 4 points to nil. We've had 13 minutes of play. Now the scrum packs, they go the blind side, Drury low. Fairly good run. Mitchell gives it to Brent Neal. Neal's in a wrestling match. Plays it back. Ball goes back to Brophy. Flick back inside. Juggled. But managed to keep control. So getting to his feet, Jared Kennedy. Ball goes wide. It's loose. And it went forward to Connor Mason. So a mistake from Tuggeranong Bushrangers. We'll see a scrum pack and the Goulburn Workers will get the feed. 10 metres out from their own line. So it has been Tuggeranong Bushrangers with a lot of field position and putting a lot of attack onto the Goulburn Workers. However, the Goulburn Workers' defence has stood up to the task, which is a good sign early in this match for them. So they bring it away, Goulburn. Now Barato is going to play it 25 metres out from his own line. Goulburn just pushing it up the centre. Rota takes play about 15 short of halfway. They'll go away to Mitch Cornish. And he'll kick into open spaces. Rushing back there, Connor Mason. He gets the ball. He's only 5 metres out from his own line. He's running across field. And Nick Cornish almost got him back into the in-goal area. There's a big tackle too from Nick Cornish. So a couple of big ones. And Tuggeranong are trapped inside their own 10. Brophy plays it. Mitchell. Gave it on to Kennedy. Jared Kennedy. This is a big defensive set from Goulburn. Comes on to Brent Neal. So they'll need a big kick here. Brophy keeps it low, punches it down to the 30-metre line. It's picked up by Tyler Cornish. And there's a wall of defenders there, so Tyler Cornish nowhere to go. But first tackle, he's almost on halfway. So this is good work by Goulburn. And too slow getting off Matthew Warboys. And they pick up a penalty, the Goulburn Workers. So the Goulburn Bulldogs will kick for touch. And for only the second time in this match, they'll go into prime attacking field position. Mitch Cornish, good kick. Picks up 20 metres. This is where they'll start the set. So Orbison gives it to Rhoda. Rhoda brought down by Neal. Orbison to Dodson. Dodson a hard run. He's about 5 metres from the line. Orbison fires a long one to Tyler Cornish. Nick Cornish, rather. And Nick will play it just a metre out. Ball across to Mitch Cornish. Here's trouble now for them. There's Stephen Cummins, a second try. And it was just as soft as his first one. And they go to an 8-0 lead, the Goulburn Bulldogs. And again, Stephen Cummins, on the end of good ball movement, finds himself with no one to beat. They were short for numbers, the Bushrangers. And Stephen Cummins. He scores that in the 18th minute. Got one in the 2nd minute. Now the 18th minute. Well, they were always in a bit of trouble. Tudor held up the ball. And the Tuggeranong Bushrangers defence was really stretched. And then the long ball came. Stephen Cummins, it hit him on the chest. It was a beautiful long ball. Now placing the ball, Chris Hart. And this time it's in the same position as the first kick. There's that many lines there. I'm just trying to pick which line he's on. He's brought it back about 18 metres. He's 11 metres in from touch. Gets it up in the air very high, and he's kicked it. So it's out to a 10-0 lead for the Goulburn Workers. That breeze was blowing across the field when I arrived. Not favouring anybody. It's hard to get a guide on it. It's not overly strong. I don't think it's favouring either side at this stage. It's a westerly that's going across the ground. So it does make it tricky for the goal kickers. So the kick-off from the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. We'll see Goulburn take it about 20 metres out from their own line. Tyson Greenwood played it. Connor Brebner with a run. Just try and grind it with a few settlers off the back of points. That was Finotti. Now the kick comes downfield early. Good kick too. Got the right bounce. It's going to be too good a bounce over the dead ball line. So when I said it got the bounce, I thought it was going to make ground, but it really took off and went over the dead ball line. So Michael Brophy said, that'll do us. We can come back to the 20 metres to start this set. Tuggeranong down 10-0 early in this match. So they probably weren't expecting. Comes back to Brent Neal. Now Mitchell, he's a clever ball runner. Brings it across the face of the forwards of Goulburn before he linked up with Thomas. They come close to the sideline through Narima Lowe. Straightening up from Nathan Smith. They're 39 metres out now from the line. Lowe fires it to Heyman. He sends a forward up into the fray. It was Benjamin. Now a kick over the top. Goes back for Tyler Cornish. He's in a bit of trouble, but he gets away and gets out of danger. Keeps beating players. Lost his footing. But they've managed to get it to the 20-metre mark after being under pressure. Great work, Tyler Cornish. Goes back through Mitch Cornish, who linked up with Tidor. He's 20 from halfway. Now Tyson Greenwood, 10 short of halfway. That's Tyler Cornish. He's straight through. He's got support. Oh, and the pass was no good. Down around his knees. Tyler Cornish in a fantastic run. And what looked to be was going to be a try underneath the post. And Tyler just delivered one a little bit difficult for his support play to deal with. It was a little bit low when you're at full gallop. You got to stretch down to your knees. It's a tough one to scoop in. So Tuggeranong Bushrangers off the hook there. They're down 10-0. That would have been a disaster, another 6-pointer for them. So they need to knuckle down to the task, the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Need a good set here. Scrummers packing 20 metres out from their own line. Oh, and they've dropped the ball. Narima Lowe, it just came spearing out. Tyler Cornish has secured it for Goulburn. So they've got the field position now. Played about 28 metres out, Connor Brebner. Little run from Nick Cornish. Orbison, he gave it away to Finotti. Nothing expansive just yet. 15 metres out. Nick Cornish holds it up for Mitch Cornish. Gives it away to Tidor. Runs hard at the line. He's only 6 metres out. Goulburn, a wonderful opportunity. Mitch Cornish goes the blind. Links up with Tyler Cornish. They've got him just a half metre out. Goulburn on the attack. They try and kick it into the in-goal area. It was really a shocking kick because it was just kicked into the Tuggeranong legs. So they were able to pounce on it and survive that. Oh, no, this will be a penalty. Hands in the ruck area, the play the ball area from Nick Cornish. Penalty had to go to Tuggeranong. That was hopeful stuff. Won't get away with that too often. So Tuggeranong, they need to bounce back. I know it's only early in the match, but at the moment with that scoreboard 10-0 and 16, they've made a mistake. 16 minutes from half time, 10-0. They just haven't been able to capitalise on their field position, Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Goulburn defence has been very solid. Scrum will pack, almost on halfway. Goulburn with the feed. They lead 10 points to 0, 15 minutes from the break. Field position now. Mitch Cornish gives it on to Matthew Warboys, their captain. 40 metres out from the line. Come back for Rota. Dylan Rota. Solid run. Good run. Still pumping those legs. 20 metres out. Orbison. Tyler Cornish showed the dummy and was grabbed by Benjamin. Orbison fires it to Mitch Cornish, straight through. Mitch Cornish, a beautiful step off the left, puts it down, and the Goulburn Bulldogs go out to 14-0 with a kick to come. 14-0. Mitch Cornish, great player. One of the top players in this Raiders Cup competition, had a big step off his left foot, and the defence was left in no man's land. He ended up scoring quite a comfortable try. And so far, all the points going with the Goulburn Worker Bulldogs. 14-0 kick to come. I'm jumping ahead. I'm about to say 16. But this kick is easier. He's about 11 metres to the left of the post. That breeze that was coming across the field seems to have faded out. The only guide I've really got on it is the trees to my left, and they're virtually still. I'm in the grandstand, so I'm not sitting out in the wind. So I think that was fairly strong when I arrived at the ground. I think it's faded out. So this is a fairly easier or much easier kick for Chris Hart than the previous one he kicked from near the sideline. Addie's kicked it. So he's kicked 2 from 3, Chris Hart. Missed 1 from the sideline. 16 points to 0. The Goulburn Workers Bulldogs are charging along at the moment. 13 minutes from the break. And they are in full control. So Tuggeranong Bushrangers now really need to start to toughen up, because another try before half-time would be disastrous for them. They've got to get tough in defence, and if they could come up with points themselves, that would certainly help their cause. But at the moment, it's the defence that is their concern. Ball comes away for Brebner. Takes play about 25 from halfway. Orbison gave it to Fanotti. He gave it on to Tyler Cornish. Ball comes back for Fanotti again. They're just playing security football off points to get back down the field, and they'll get to their kick, and they're going to be happy. There's a good run by Greenwood. Makes good metres. Now they'll go to the kick. Mitch Cornish puts it very high. Brophy, under pressure, takes it beautifully and brought down 10 metres out. So the chase was good from the Bulldogs. And Tuggeranong, who are out on their feet from tackling in this first half, are slowly getting back to their line. With a run, Pollard. Now Drury low, and he makes good metres. Again low. Takes play about 6 short of halfway. Brophy from dummy half. Managed to flick it up there to Eldridge, who crossed halfway. This is their last. Ball back played for Hickson. Gives it to Brophy. Kick's not a big one. Goes across field. Goes out on the full. I think it may have come off a Goulburn player. But I don't know that the Goulburn player played at it. So it will be the turnover near halfway. The Bulldogs will have the ball. Not a bad place to start the set, just short of halfway. Comes to Nick Cornish. Gave it on to his support player, Rhoda. Plays it on halfway. Goes back to Mitch Cornish, onto Finotti. Finotti standing up in the tackle. He's a good solid runner of the ball. Goes across to Mitch Cornish, through the dummy. They didn't fall for it. Push play 30 metres out. Finotti again. Getting through a lot of work. Orbison will go back to the blind side to Mitch Cornish. On he links up beautifully with Tidor. And the ball's gone loose. Tuggeranong survived that one. Tuggeranong certainly have got a comeback in them. They're down 16-0, 8 minutes from the break. Their defence has let them down in this first half. Goulburn have had a good percentage of the ball. I don't know the exact percentages, but they, to me, appear to have had much more of the ball than Tuggeranong. Brophy with a run off the scrum win. Good run, Pollard. Pollard will play at 15 short of halfway. Ball comes away for Benjamin. Push it to the blind side. Hickson to halfway. Come back Alexander, who brought Benjamin back on his inside. This is the last tackle. 40 metres out from Goulburn's line. Back for Heyman. Not a deep kick. Cornish under it. Good run, Tyler Cornish. So they're going to start their set Goulburn about 18 short of halfway. They work the blind side through Dylan Rhoda. He makes some metres at 5 off halfway. Tyler Cornish is going to have to run from dummy half. No one looked organised on that occasion. Orbison gives it on to Warboys. Good run by the captain, Matthew Warboys. He's taken play down to near the 30. Orbison, Nick Cornish. Now the chip over the top from Mitch Cornish goes deep. And it'll go over the dead ball line. And Tuggeranong were thankful of that because they can come back out to the 20-metre line. And we have 7 minutes left on the clock till half time. 16-0, Goulburn Workers over the Bush Rangers. Alexander with a run. And a fair run it was. At 30 metres out. Later back for Jury Lowe. He's lost the ball. So a scrum will pack. It's going to pack 5 metres on Tuggeranong's side of the ground. So great position for Goulburn Bulldogs to start this set. Cornish feeds the scrum, Comes out for Orbison. Nick Cornish. Ball now. It's a penalty. And the Tuggeranong supporters really blow up about that one. But the referees say it was reefed out. Now, Matt Martin's on the field. In the sky blue headgear and had a good run. This time it's away for Tyson Greenwood. They're about 12 metres out, Goulburn. Looking dangerous. Comes to Nick Cornish. Got it back inside for Rota. Rota unloads it to Orbison. Orbison across. Pushes one off. Ducks under one. Goulburn right on the attack. Ball comes across. Nick Cornish. Gave it to Tyson Greenwood. Greenwood, 8 metres from the line. Long ball, Mitch Cornish, off the left. Looked to flick it to one of his brothers. Ball went loose. Martin dived on it, 6 to go. There was a hand in there from Tuggeranong. So this is danger stuff now for Tuggeranong. Ball goes out through the back line. Oh, tempting to throw it was Chris Hart. But wisely he brought the ball back in, play a bit of patient football. Mitch Cornish gives it on to Tyson Greenwood. That's how he's lost the ball in the tackle. And picked up by Brophy for Tuggeranong. So Tuggeranong off the hook there. They were under heavy siege. It would have been disaster to let another 6-pointer in. Tristan Eldridge plays it. Brophy with a run from dummy half. And that's a good run. Brophy to halfway. Ball back for Heyman. Gives it on to Narima Lowe. They've taken play over halfway. Ball goes across. And Brent Neal has a run. In fact, it was Brad Robinson who's on the field. Back for Brophy. Throws it to Alexander. Throws a long ball over there to the winger Mason. Mason comes back in field. And he picks up a penalty for a high shot. Big chance for Tuggeranong. 3 minutes from the break. They probably need points to give them a lift before the half-time break. They're down 16 points to 0. This time it's played back, goes on to Daniel Hickson. Within metres of the line and desperate for points. Heyman. Oh, he held it up and he gave it on his outside to Robinson. Half a metre out. Can they force the issue? Brent Neal. In fact, it was Benjamin again. Brophy stops in his tracks. He went behind a player. He'll have to take the tackle. They're only metres out. Last tackle. Ball away to Alexander. Oh, scooped up by Jury Lowe. It came off a Goulburn Bulldog into Jury Lowe's hands. And Lowe went, thank you very much. I'll have a 4-pointer. That was easy for Jury Lowe. And that was a much-needed try to the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. That brings it to 16 points to 4. Conversion fairly wide out. But they really needed that before half-time because this match had been slipping away from them, even though we're only coming up to the break. That will give them a huge lift. 16 points to 4. Kick to come. Well, that little chip through from Alexander had bounced up in the air off a Bulldog player. Jury Lowe was trailing through at speed, and it landed beautifully, set up beautifully for him. He just grabbed it and planted it down, and comes up with the first points of the match for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. So this kick, well, in the end, it's only 10 metres in from touch. So not an easy one for Tristan Eldridge. He's a left foot kicker. Breeze has died down. Oh no, he struck it very poorly. Gee, completely miskicked it. So they'll remain on 4 points. Tristan must have just taken his eye off that ball at the last minute. The last second. Didn't go anywhere. Never mind. You've got a try on the board, Tuggeranong Bushrangers. And at 16-4, we've probably got time for one more set before the siren will sound for half-time. Kick-off by Chris Hart is deep into the in-goal area. And Tuggeranong will just play out a few tackles here and then they'll go to the break. So playing at Brad Robinson. Goes on to Benjamin. Benjamin, the big lad, he wrestles in the tackle. There's the siren. They will go to the sheds. They'll go to the sheds with the Goulburn Bulldogs leading 16 points to 4 over the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. And I think Tuggeranong Bushrangers getting that try just before the break will give them a huge lift. There's still 2 converted tries away from Goulburn, who had a terrific first half and were far the better team. They took most of their opportunity. Stephen Cummings with 2 tries, one in the 2nd minute, one in the 18th minute. And Mitch Cornish came up with the 3rd try for them. 2 conversions by Chris Hart, and they were out to 16. And that try a couple of minutes before half-time by Jury Lowe got the Bushrangers on the scoreboard. So at 16-4, it has been the Goulburn Bulldogs who have had control of the first half in this most important match to see who will face the Queanbeyan Blues in next weekend's 2019 Raiders Cup Grand Final. It comes the second half to see who'll be in the 2019 Raiders Cup Grand Final against the Queanbeyan Blues next weekend. At the moment, at half-time, Goulburn Workers in the white strip lead 16 points to 4 Tuggeranong Bushrangers in the dark blue strip. And it is the Goulburn Workers to kick off and start this second half. We just can't get play underway till we have a referee, who no doubt will be here shortly. Well, Goulburn Bulldogs dominated the first half. Tuggeranong managed to get the 4-pointer just before the break. Here's the referee, and he's brought his linesmen with him to get 4 on the board and give them some hope, because they were outplayed in that first half, but no doubt they'll be fired up after visiting the dressing shed. And Josh Mitchell would have had a bit to say to them there, hooker and captain, down to Heyman, the kickoff. So Tuggeranong bring it out through Hickson. And a run from dummy half from Pollard. Lowe goes down, tries to go down an open blind side. Comes up through Benjamin. Just short of halfway now is Tuggeranong. Kick from Heyman. Goes down to Tyler Cornish. Bounces past him. He scoops it up. And he'll be tackled 20 metres out from his own line. Goulburn at this stage cannot go into their shell, although they have a good lead. Rota with a run, and Dylan Rota takes play about 30 metres out. Orbison gave it away to Lebert Rudder. Ball comes back through Nick Cornish, who linked up with Fonotti right on halfway. Mitch Cornish will kick on the last. Goes down to Mason. Connor Mason takes it beautifully. Gets it out 21 metres from his own line. Ball away to Brophy. Goes across field. The defence are onto him. You've got to watch Michael Brophy. He's a dangerous player. Eldridge fires it to a man on his outside who gives it to Pollard. And Pollard, he managed to unload. He got it away to Narima Lowe. 5 short of halfway. Eldridge gives it on to Benjamin. Benjamin hard up the centre. Martin goes over the top. Underneath was Warboys. Back for Heyman. Heyman chips over for the line and he'll find touch. 13 metres out from the Goulburn Bulldogs line. Scrum will pack and Goulburn will get the feed. So Goulburn with a handy lead, 16-4, as we get through the first couple of minutes of this second half, this semi-final, to see who's going to line up next week's grand final against the Queanbeyan Blues, who will be sitting back this weekend patiently awaiting to see who their opposition will be. They were good last week, the Blues, when they beat the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Got a way to win that one, I think, by about 14 points from memory. So Goulburn get the scrum feed, and they come out with it. Mitch Cornish linked up with on his outside with Tidor. He played 10 metres out. So good defence early. Liberato plays it, goes back for Martin. Martin makes it out about to the 25-metre line. Now Orbison coming away with another forward. Just one out stuff on the force, so playing the ball Greenwood. Now the kick. It's a long kick. Mason's back there. Connor Mason takes it beautifully. Charges across field There's a wall of defence, and Tidor's there to make a ball and all tackle. Pollard will have a run from dummy half. He does well. He picks up 10 metres. Brophy, dummy half, gives it to Robinson. And he forces his way up to the halfway line. Goes back to Benjamin. Been heavily involved, Benjamin. He's going to play at 40 metres out. Can Tuggeranong come back in this match? They'll go to the far side. Brophy brings back on his inside Narima Lowe. Lowe's 30 metres out. Last tackle. Brophy would have put a crossfield kick that's not deep enough. Going up for it, Jury Lowe. They'll have to kick it again, and it ended up a nothing last tackle as Tyler Cornish cleans up. So Tuggeranong disappointing in their fifth tackle option. That wind has blown up again. It went away, but I think it might be favouring Tuggeranong slightly. It's going across field. So Goulburn now with the ball. And Rhoda. Dylan Rhoda. He's always hard to bring down. Head back for Nick Cornish. Gives it to Mitch Cornish, who's beating tackles. He's light on his feet. Great run by Mitch Cornish. He crossed the halfway line. Orbison wants to keep play down the blind side. Fanotti with a great run. And he's lost it. And he's picked up a penalty. He's picked up a penalty. It was stripped, says the referee. So 30 metres out. Goulburn have all the field position now. Leading 16 points to 4. Only minutes into this second half at Gungahlin enclosed oval. Martin has a run. Orbison. He fires it on to Matthew Warboys. And the captain's with it in 18 metres. Orbison goes the blind with a scurry. Gives it away to Rhoda. Rhoda is over the line. I think he'd be held up. They rolled him onto the back, and Dylan Rhoda just couldn't get the ball down. You bring it out 10 metres and play the ball. There's a good little run by Orbison, and then a good pass to Dylan Rhoda, but no result. So close. Orbison gives it away to Nick Cornish, to Mitch Cornish. Mitch Cornish, he holds it up. Gave it to Tyler Cornish. It's the Cornish show. 15 metres out from the line. Chris Hart got it away to Mitch Cornish, got the kick through, and Nick Cornish, the brothers knew what was going on. The backyard football years ago, they probably practiced that move 1,000 times, and the brothers come up with the points. Mitch Cornish, the grubber kick for his brother Nick Cornish, and the try takes them out to 20 points to 4 with a kick to come from next to the post. And that's exactly what Tuggeranong Bushrangers didn't want to start this second half. Just 7 minutes into the second half and trailing 16-4. They needed to be first to score to get some energy in those legs, but it's out to 20 points to 4, and the Goulburn Bulldogs be feeling very happy with themselves, even though there is a half hour of football to go. Chris Hart from almost in front. He's kicked 2 from 3 this afternoon. Left footer. Breeze has dropped off again. And he punches it through. 22 points to 4. So a commanding lead in this big match now to the Goulburn Bulldogs. And Chris Hart has kicked 3 from 4. Only points in the match to Tuggeranong came with a try to Jury Lowe off a kick. So Tuggeranong have a big job in front of them now. the scoreboard strongly against them, and they're just not playing well enough to match Goulburn. And that kick-off goes out on the full. The breeze going across the field, a westerly, gave it a bit of a kick along, and it went out on the full. So everything going wrong now for the Bushrangers. And Goulburn on halfway will get field position to start this set. Feeling very comfortable at the moment, the Goulburn Bulldogs. Martin with a run. Orbison gave it to Fonotti. 32 out. Nick Cornish to Mitch Cornish. Got a ball away to Tidor. Defence rallied strong to bring him down. Penalty to the Goulburn Workers. So Josh Mitchell, the captain of the Bushrangers, comes out to have a little protest, which doesn't last long. And Goulburn get a chance now for more points. 30 metres out, just hanging on too long in the tackle. Matt Martin punches it up. Matt Martin goes through them down to the 9. Don't know what happened to Brophy there. Might have got a poke in the eye, the fullback. Ball crossed to Mitch Cornish, to Nick Cornish. He's proving hard to pull down, and he goes in underneath the post. That was too soft. 2 tries in the matter of minutes for Nick Cornish. And that could possibly be the end of the Bushrangers, and we still have half an hour of play to go, but out to 26-4. And a kick to come. It is just all one-way traffic, and it is the Goulburn Workers with all the traffic. And Michael Brophy, the talented fullback for the Bushrangers, something with a miss in the tackle, and he is receiving treatment behind the line, and their trainer is checking out his eyes, so he no doubt got an accidental poke in the eye, Michael Brophy. Well, Chris Hart's pretty happy. He's got another kick in front. 26 will become 28. Left-footed kicker, 3 from 4 so far. About to make it 4 from 5. And there it is. Good conversion. 28 points to 4. Goulburn Workers. It now looks like they're just having a hit out as they charge towards next week's grand final. And the Blues anxiously wait for that big match, the grand final of the Raiders Cup 2019 next weekend. So the kickoff comes from Josh Mitchell. Goes down to Nick Cornish. Couple of tries in the last few minutes to Nick Cornish. That one was too soft. Tuggeranong really. Defence was very soft. Nick Cornish. He got it on to Tyson Greenwood. Eldridge pushing play to the far side of the ground. Getting to his feet was Warboys. Now the kick from Mitch Cornish will find touch the far side of the ground. So a good set off points from Goulburn. Scrum will set 20 metres out. Bit of an argument there that it was a 40-20. It was only inches away, but the linesman didn't see it that way. It was worth firing in a little protest, though. Those little protests never win. Scrum will pack. Goulburn in command. Tuggeranong cannot afford a mistake coming off their own line now. Michael Brophy's okay after the poke in the eye. He has a run. They wrestle him to the ground. Played back. Josh Mitchell And there's a penalty, a much-needed penalty. Jury Lowe was running it up. Referee says Goulburn too quick off the mark. For the ball was played, and not mucking around was Josh Mitchell. He doesn't find touch. Nothing going the way of Tuggeranong. They're out of sorts now. And Goulburn workers, well, they should be tackling under pressure. Instead, they're running it out from their own line. And Chris Hart will play it 20 short of halfway. Eldridge, way to Nick Cornish. Got it onto the winger, Labarato. He found support in Rota, who will play the ball. And they push it down the blind side. Matthew Warboys will play it. Comes back to Mish Cornish. He finds open ground with his kick. Connor Mason will have to dart backwards to his own 10, scoop up the ball. And he makes it to the 20. Tuggeranong. Now, the referee has blown his whistle. The crowd are blowing up. I think we've got to play it down. I think Tuggeranong, and he's feeling his neck, which is a nasty area to cop a blow to. So it might have been anyway, player, and I don't know who it is receiving treatment from Goulburn. The trainer standing in front of him. I think it's Mitch Cornish. Yeah, it is Mitch Cornish. He's having a drink of water. He's feeling his throat. Painful it would be. So play is Mitch Cornish. Is he going to come off? No, he's going to stay on the field. So Kennedy comes across field for Tuggeranong. He's told Kennedy to go back and play the ball. Mitch Cornish is in a lot of discomfort. He's out here on the left wing, their gun player. He's drifting back in field now, but it's an uncomfortable injury. Brophy, cross field, brings Dragosick back on his inside. So they've got a little bit of field position, which they've rarely had in this match. Away for Heyman. Light-footed Heyman is playing at 30 out. They'll push it down that far side, and the ball goes into touch. And I think it was touched by Goulburn. So Tuggeranong will get one of their rare opportunities to have field position. 20 metres out. Brophy plays it back. Mitchell brought Dragosick back on his inside. They need points. They need off this set, even though there's a long time to go. They're that far behind. Way for Brophy. He held the ball up, found support. And Alexander, but that defence was good. They were up quick. Brophy showing the ball, Brophy, and he goes for the line. Oh, he's inches short. He looks certain to score. Mitchell goes himself from dummy half, but he's not going to make it. Now, whether he's held up, yes, he is held up, so he'll come back 10 metres. Gee, Michael Brophy looked certain to score, but the scrambling defence was good. Dragosick, Heyman gets it on to Robinson. Oh, and they've lost the ball. It's come away for Rota, and Rota's beaten them all. He's galloped over halfway. He's looking for support, and then a good tackle by Jared Kennedy. And Kennedy's hurt himself. But a great tackle. Bring Rota down. Kennedy can't get to his feet. Ball comes to Nick Cornish, to Mitch Cornish. He gave it to Tidor. They keep it moving. Cummins, one to beat, throws it inside, intercepted by Mitchell, and it's ruled a forward pass. Now, play will have to stop because Kennedy's on the ground on the far side of the field receiving treatment from the trainer. And now the referee has decided to blow time off, and Kennedy will receive treatment. So Tuggeranong, not much going their way in this match, and 28 points to 4 down. Kennedy with that great covering tackle has hurt himself. He's played well, Kennedy. He's getting to his feet very slowly, Jared Kennedy. And he's jogging back to the scrum. 22 minutes to go. 28 points to 4. It's the Bulldogs from Goulburn who have been outstanding this afternoon, right across the park. Ball's placed in the scrum and it comes out with Tuggeranong off the right foot, jury low. They're on halfway. Ball goes across to Brophy, holds it up and gives it to Brent Neal. The last 20 minutes, they're going to have to make a rush if they're going to make a game of it, Tuggeranong. Dragasic. I need to score probably off this set. I need to come up with 24 points, so maybe success has gone out of their minds. Daniel Hickson up the centre. Mitchell, Brophy. Straightens it up. There's been no way through this defence of Goulburn this afternoon. Now Mitchell tries a chip kick, and it's taken nicely by Stephen Cummings, and that'll force a line drop out. The Goulburn defence has been outstanding. The one try came off a little kick, and the ricochet went to Drury Lowe, who scored for Tuggeranong. That's the only points they've scored in this match. So the line drop out coming, and Goulburn feeling very comfortable as we get down to the last quarter of this match. And they've gone the short line drop out. Why not when you've got a big lead? And Tuggeranong have it. And they have it about 20 metres out. Can they come up with a second try? Brent Neal, who's been a terrific player this afternoon for Tuggeranong's never stopped trying. Mitchell yelling at his troops. Dummy half. Shows it to Dragasic. Holds it up. Gives it to Brophy. And that's as far as they go through Drury Low. And now there's an intercept. And it is Stephen Cummins going for his third try. And there's no way in the world they'll catch the long striding Steve Cummins. And he puts it down. Goes around near the post to help Chris Hart in his conversion. Stephen Cummins, he's had a great match. And he'll be bragging tonight to the boys, I've got 3 tries. 3 tries. One in the 2nd minute, one in the 18th minute, and now one in the 60th minute. Love scoring a try. Old intercept. And that's the game, set and match. And we've still got 20 minutes to go. Out to 32 points to 4, Goulburn. They can start their preparations for the grand final against the Queanbeyan Blues next weekend. Well, what a disappointing end of the season for the Tuggeranong Bushrangers, who led the comp for so long, lost their last 3, and have come out here today to try and bounce back to form. And they have got trounced. Well, Tuggeranong. A disappointing end to what has been a great season for them, and we're only saying before the match, the three top sides in the Raiders Cup has been nothing between them all year, and that is the Blues, the Bulldogs and the Bushrangers. But this afternoon, the Bulldogs, who have come into great form the back end of this season, they trounced the Roos last week in a final, and they've trounced the Bushrangers this week. And there's a conversion from Chris Hart, making his effort 5 from 6 this afternoon, and 34 points to 4. And they will go into the grand final next week, the Goulburn Bulldogs, full of confidence with the form they've displayed over the last 6 weeks. Right across the park, they have been good, and they've absolutely outplayed the Bushrangers everywhere, every department. Kickoff goes to Liberato. They'll begin back in field. So Goulburn will go home. They'll have a big week this week in preparation for the grand final. Nick Cornish gives it to Mitch Cornish. They continue to work it across field. There's the big front rower out wide, Brebner. From that play the ball, Tidor's going to play it just short of halfway. Jason Gray, it's the dummy half. Now there's a ricocheting ball. And Alexander with a run to halfway. Down to 16 minutes to go. Robinson getting to his feet. 42 metres out. Ball away to Brophy. Getting to his feet, Dragosick to play it. Mitchell to Brophy. Kick over the top. It'll go over the sideline. No, it won't. Tyler Cornish, the tricky bounce. He thought it was going the sideline, but he cleaned it up. He brought it back in field. Alvarado with a run. About 12 metres out from his own line. Jason Gray, a little run from dummy half. So they're just closing shop down now, and there's 15 minutes left on the clock. They just played it up the centre through that set and then went for the kick. Downfield to Connor Mason. And Tuggeranong season quickly drawing to a close. They've got 15 minutes and 8 seconds of it left. So Eldridge plays it back to Mitchell. That's a good solid run by Thomas. Ball comes back over to Dragosick. And Dragosick is brought down about 28. Can they get a consolation try? The Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Brophy fires a ball to Thomas. Jaden Thomas, 10 metres from the line. Mitchell goes to the blind side to Heyman. Tried a little kick through. And that's been Tuggeranong's afternoon. Nothing coming off. Rota. Goulburn again. They'll just grind it up the centre. Rota's down in back play after that tackle. Tidor. In fact, it was Chris Hart. Now it's Fanotti. So the match is just bogging down at the moment. Jason Gray has a good run. No, he's lost the ball. Had a good little scurry, but it ended. Tackle from Daniel Hickson, and the ball came loose. About to click inside the last 13 minutes. Now, let's have a look. He's called time off the referee. So back over there near the dead ball line, Dylan Rota has gone back behind the dead ball line, so he hasn't recovered from that injury when he was running the ball out off his own line a couple of minutes ago. He was back behind the play. I didn't notice he was still down, so the referee called time out while they allowed Dylan Rota to be assisted from the field by one of his trainers. And he's just in a bit of pain. He'll be hoping he'll be right for next week. Mitchell gives it to Heyman for Tuggeranong. Totally outplayed this afternoon, Tuggeranong. Now he's ruled, I think, here that Jaden Pollard may have lost the ball in the tackle. Yeah, Goulburn Bulldogs will get the feed. So it's become a sloppy end of this match. 12 minutes to go. And the score at 34 for the Goulburn Bulldogs and only 4 for Tuggeranong Bushrangers. Goulburn have got the grand final on their minds. And Tuggeranong are just shell-shocked by what was a disappointing end of their season. They didn't fire up at all. Well, things just didn't go their way. They made mistakes, dropped balls, got frustrated. And in the end, they were simply outplayed by a much better team on the day. Chris Hart has had a big run. He's gone across field. He's 20 short of halfway. The Goulburn just going through the motions. Connor Brebner will charge it up the centre. And then he gave it away to support play. And easy metres were gained by Matthew Warboys. Mitch Cornish. Greenwood is wrapped up about 5 metres over the halfway line. Mitch Cornish showing the ball. Got it away to Tyler Cornish. Gave it to Chris Hart. And he's brought down by Connor Mason. Ball goes back to Mitch Cornish. Gave it to Nick Cornish. Away to Stephen Cummins, who went into touch. And a scrum will have to pack 11 metres out from the Tuggeranong line. A good football team, the Goulburn Bulldogs. They've shown that in the last 6 weeks. So Queanbeyan know they've got a real game on their hands in next week's Ends grand final. And Queanbeyan were outstanding last week. Called them in their win over Tuggeranong. It was a fairly tight affair till the last 15 minutes when Queanbeyan Blues got the upper hand. But I don't say read too much into it that Goulburn have been able to beat Tuggeranong much easier, because Tuggeranong have had a real off day. And in a big match, it's very disappointing for them. So they'll go across. Alexander gives it on to Hickson. Not much to salvage now as we get inside the last 9 minutes. I suppose they'd love to get some points, Eldridge. Eldridge has hurt himself. He's clutching at his left knee. Ball back for Dragosick, and Matthew takes it up towards the 30-metre line, and he gets a penalty for the late steal. 2 on the tackle. So Mitchell, their captain, Tuggeranong's captain, who's had a great season, fires a long ball out to Drury Lowe. Gee, it's been hard to crack Goulburn's defence. There's been no way through it this afternoon apart from that one occasion. Now Wesley Alexander skipping across field is 18 metres out from the line. I'll go to the left. Brent Neal gives it to Brophy. A long ball out to Eldridge. Tries to kick through. And I think in scooping it up, he's knocked it on. Liberato. So Tuggeranong will get a scrum feed. 8 minutes on the clock. 34 points to 4, the leaders of this match, the Goulburn Bulldogs, over the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. And it is the Goulburn Bulldogs who will be going through to next week's grand final against the Queanbeyan Blues in what I think will be a cracking afternoon. It'll be great if the weather was kind to the fans and the players, because I think it would be a wonderful open game of football, and I don't know which side I would select, because Goulburn have been rattling along in the last 6 weeks of this comp. An intercept. Steve Cummins, will you get number 4? Brophy is after him. Cummins, and now Mason is closing in. Cummins has got too much speed. Take number 4, Stephen Cummins. Number 4, try number 4. What a beautiful intercept. And what a tough run to run 90 metres at the end of a rugby league match. Good thing it wasn't a front rower taking the intercept. Nonetheless, it's still a long way to run at the end of a rugby league match. And Cummins, he scored in the 2nd minute, the 18th minute, the 60th minute, the 73rd minute. Stephen Cummins, 4 tries. He's a greedy man. He loves scoring a try. That was outstanding. A beautiful intercept. Tuggeranong trying anything to get through the Goulburn defence, and that led to a wide long pass that Stephen Cummins said, "Thank you very much." And then he might have regretted intercepting it when he looked at the 90 metres in front of him. It was a big chase too. Mason and Brophy were after him, and Mason was closing in. So Stephen Cummins, he could hear them coming. He had to keep the foot to the pedal. He couldn't ease up, and he didn't. And that is a great effort to score 4 tries in a final. 4 tries in any match. So congratulations to Stephen Cummins, who's played a great game of football here this afternoon for his Goulburn side. And the conversion is wide from Chris Hart. He's kicked 5 from 7. So, big win to Goulburn. 5 minutes to go. 38 points to 4. I don't know the Blues what they get out of watching this match today, because Tuggeranong have really disappointed themselves. They just haven't played up to the form that they've showed this year. They've got themselves frustrated. I guess you can give a lot of credit to Goulburn for frustrating them, getting up in their face. And Tuggeranong just couldn't get in their groove. And the Goulburn defence grew with confidence in that first half and has continued on in the second half. And at 38 points to 4, I was not expecting a scoreline of this type. In fact, it was hard to pick a winner before the match, although Goulburn came in with the better win-strike rate. Tuggeranong had lost 3 on the trot. So Goulburn, through their motions, They'll kick it downfield for Michael Brophy. He's had a great season, a very talented footballer who's tried hard. He throws a long ball across to his outside man, and they take play about 15 metres out from the halfway. Dragosic with a run. Mitchell gave it on to Hickson. Hickson, 44 metres out from Goulburn's line. Brophy gets heavily involved for a fullback. Plays a lot of halfback 5'8" roles. He'll play at 30 metres out. Ball to the left. Heyman steps off the left, dragging a player with him. Got a back for Mitchell. Throws a long ball to Alexander. Steps off his right, then off his left, and goes through Alexander. Comes to the fullback, and he's brought down from behind in a good tackle by Jason Gray. Now a little chip kick, and again the chip kicks go wrong. Jason Gray has been a live wire for Goulburn, has cleaned it up. Their kicking game has been disappointing. Tuggeranong. So we'll play out the last couple of minutes, and it is Goulburn with the ball, centre of the ground, 20 metres out from their own line. Martin with a run. Game's got into a little bit of slow motion. Gray dummy half, fires it to Mitch Cornish, who plants a ball back on his inside. And then the kick from Mitch Cornish will go down to Connor Mason. He tries a chip kick over the top. Will that work? Oh, he took it nicely. But the defence was there in the shape of Tyson Greenwood. And there's a bit of push and shove. A little bit of frustration from Tuggeranong. We've got a minute 40 on the clock, boys. Don't get excited. Matthew Woolboys just comes over to his men and says, take it easy, boys. Let's pack the scrum. Probably the last scrum of the match. Could even be the last set of the match. And we can start thinking about that. They're already thinking about the grand final now. Well, they're still playing. They're just trying to close this match out. Close it down, I should say. And get to the sheds. Nurse the injuries. And that's where the preparation will start immediately for next week. Treating the bumps and the bruises. There's a kick that's got to get Michael Brophy on his horse and going because Tyler Cornish is flying, but Brophy will win the race and just chip it over the dead ball line. We'll barely have time for this line drop out. So Tuggeranong Bushrangers, who came here with high hopes, are going to go home with the tail between their legs. But they've had a wonderful season. They can pat themselves on their back for that. And Michael Brophy, who's had a great season and has never stopped this afternoon, has been heavily involved, goes to the short line drop out. At Goulburn, who just do everything right, have grabbed it and are probably going to score in the corner. And I'm sure the referee will award that one. So everything going Goulburn's way. There's the siren. It takes them to 42. And had a great win by them this afternoon to take themselves through to the grand final. Just trying to pick up who it was who got that last try. And it's just going with the grounded answer, but he didn't pick up who scored it either. 42 points to 4. What a runaway win by the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs over the Tuggeranong Bushrangers. And they go into the grand final next week against the Queanbeyan Blues. Kick a goal is a shocker. Came from Shane McKellen. So 42-4. It is all Goulburn Workers this afternoon. The Bulldogs will go into next week's confidence with 2 huge wins in the past 2 weeks in both their finals matches to make the grand final. And they had a terrific winning run into the finals. So they'll go in with a lot of confidence next week. But they're up against a very tough and brutal and clever outfit in the Queanbeyan Blues. I think next week's grand final is shaping as an absolute beauty, and I hope they draw a tremendous crowd. No doubt it's probably, I think it's always played at Seaford Oval. So Queanbeyan may get the advantage, or will get the advantage there with probably the larger number of supporters, but Goulburn do have a close following. So we'll wrap things up here from Gungahlin Enclosed Oval, where the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs 42 defeat Tuggeranong Bushrangers 4, and it is the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs who can now prepare for next week's 2019 Raiders Cup Grand Final. Thanks for tuning in.
Test. Test.